apostolic technologies are spiritual technologies that are willed by God to the apostles, so that by them the apostolic or the apostles will be able to forge very specific genre of kingdom functionaries for the sake of the fame of our God. Everything going on in our landscape now is crying out the testimonies, the testimonials of the lack of the success in large part of these technologies and tools are all over the landscape, including the current situation around spousal abuse and marriage and divorce and everything that is going on. I have not heard so many preachers say so many unbiblical things, so many illogical things in a long while as I've heard in this season. And I continue to hear. So when somebody is able to come out and say, God hates divorce, God hates murder, but use your wisdom. And using your wisdom is use divorce that God hates in order to avoid murder that God hates. That is wisdom. Now, what is going on there may look like the objective is very noble. What's the objective? The objective is get the abused out of the environment of abuse. That's supposed to be the objective when you drill down to it. That's what the person is trying to say. But there is a biblical way, there has to be a biblical way to do something that is right. You do not ever need to violate God in order to do something that is good. And this is supposed to be commonsensical, right? Except that we are now saying that somehow our wisdom is superior to the wisdom of God. That in the wisdom of God, God could not find a way where in order to save life, you will not have to do something that God hates. So God just left us in this situation where, well, you are going to have to choose the lesser of two evils in order to stay alive. Which God are they talking about? What sort of God will create a situation where for the safety of your life in a relationship of marriage, you will need to violate God in order to save life? What kind of God is that? This is how you know that a lot of people do not have foundations. Foundation is lacking. We are sailing, but we are sailing with the engine of Babylon. And many times you will not know until you get to moments like this when you have to name the elephant. When you get to moments like this, then you realize that a lot of people do not have a coherent picture of what Christianity is. And it is sad that a lot of these people, they have microphones, they are preachers, they are pastors. How can a pastor say that wisdom means violate God so as to prevent somebody else from violating God? That the only way to stop an evil is to do something that God hates. In fact, he said, God hates murder, God hates divorce. So use divorce that God hates in order to avoid murder that God hates. That's what wisdom should direct. I wanted to do a rejoinder to that particular one, but I decided to leave it. As I will definitely need to do a follow-up on that teaching because there are still so many unanswered questions. But what happens when we get to moments like this? So when people are saying, get out, live there, your life is more important than marriage. And all of these beautiful sentiments, that many of those sentiments are true, right? God cannot be more concerned about marriage than he is concerned about your life. Just as, however important marriage is, it cannot be the case that God is more concerned about marriage than he's concerned about you. Therefore, if you have that understanding, hear me and hear me very well. This is simple Bible interpretative protocol. It is to say, it means that God has a way by which I will not need to violate God in order to preserve life. Then you go out to look for what that way might be. Because you are coming with a pre-commitment to the absolute goodness of God. That says God is too good to create a state of affair where the only way that I can preserve life in a marriage will be to do something that God hates. God is too good. Like, what do you think of God? You think like God is a car manufacturer that needs to keep, updating it every year. With newer technology, then we make it a lot more comfortable for people. That's like, what exactly are they thinking about God? Is to show you the shallowness, the shabbiness with which we approach scriptures and the precious things of our faith. It's getting to a point now where the major people that are about to start to attack the foundations of marriage and God's intended permanence that should attend to marriage, the people that are about to bring down that edifice, that are trying, they will fail. But the people trying, many of them are preachers. And the weapon that the enemy is put in their hand is a slogan. Don't die there. Don't die there. So your life is better than marriage. You have to be alive to be married. If you die, your spouse's life will go on. All of those things are true. The point is reconciliation. How do you reconcile all of these true statements with all the other things you know about the principles that are supposed to govern marriage? Are we absolutely saying there's no way to do the right thing without doing the wrong thing? Because there's nobody that is going to say the right thing to do is not to save life. Saving life is the right thing to do. Marriage is not primarily, marriage is by no means, is not a call to die. Physical death. It's not a call to martyrdom. So the point would be, if God does not like murder, God hates murder. Thou shalt not kill. God hates murder. And God hates divorce. How then does a Christian avoid divorce? Or how then does a Christian not avoid divorce? The thing you are trying to avoid is murder. Right? Is murder. If there's abuse in the marriage, you are trying to avoid murder. How do you avoid murder? By not doing something else that God hates. So immediately, there are going to be a number of options. You will first look at the fact to say, this rule of divorce, are there exceptions to it? Maybe the exception clause covers for this situation. All right? This is the biblical way to proceed. I will be more comfortable with a Christian that says that he believes that the Bible allows for divorce in the case of abuse, all right, than a Christian who says, I know that God hates divorce. But I'm going to have you divorced so that you do not die. I don't even know how to communicate what I'm trying to say to you. Because many of you cannot see the huge, the freight that, what do I mean by freight? I'm talking about the load, the intensity of biblical integrity that is at stake with the way we are proceeding. When we mainstream this way of thinking, very soon the Bible becomes irrelevant. It means you only obey the Bible so long as it is convenient. When it is not convenient, or it does not look comfortable, or it does not serve your end, what do? Apply wisdom. And applying wisdom means forget about the Bible. That is what is behind everything I'm trying to say to you. This is why it is heinous. So on the one hand, it looks like what they are trying to achieve is a good thing, right? But it is a good thing that has the venom of an adder in its tail. Are we actually saying that there is no way to save life from an abusive mind?